Joining us now is Congresswoman Karen Bass of California, who led police reform negotiations for Democrats in the House, which have now ended without a deal. Congresswoman, always appreciate you coming on the show. In fact, you talked to us just last week and said that you were waiting to hear back from Senator Tim Scott at that point and that a compromise bill could be on the floor this week. Instead, talks collapsed. Explain to us what happened.
Sure. Well, the bottom line is that Senator Booker offered Senator Scott kind of a last and final offer, and he did not agree to it. He didn't say no, but he didn't say yes, and I think that kind of characterizes the talks over the last many months. And Senator Booker called Senator Scott yesterday and basically said that he thought that the negotiations were over. This is really sad. You know, at different points in time throughout the process, I was very optimistic that this was going to happen. And so I was saddened by the fact that it didn't. But I do have to say, though, for all of those hundreds of thousands of people that protested in every city, in every state around the country, change did come on a state level, on a local level. Unfortunately, we still have not brought about the change that is needed on a national level, but Senator Booker and I have called on the administration to use the full power of the presidency to issue additional executive orders and other instructions to police departments that hopefully will bring about some of the change.
Senator Scott, the lead Republican negotiator, accused Democrats of walking away, as you know, from talks yesterday, saying, quote, despite having plenty of agreement, Democrats said no because they could not let go of their push to defund our law enforcement. Once again, the left let their misguided idea of perfect be the enemy of good, impactful legislation. What's your response to that, Congresswoman?
So here's the situation. Senator Booker negotiated a deal with the Fraternal Order of Police. I don't think that the police wanted to defund themselves. President Trump signed an executive order that we offered we could put that into law. I don't think President Trump was trying to defund the police. So I think that that is a talking point that is used by Republicans, but neither Senator Booker or myself support defunding the police. And frankly, the George Floyd Justice in Policing bill also provided resources for police. Now, what's ironic here is that when we had legislation to fund the Capitol Police, to fund local government, and part of that money went to law enforcement, Republicans voted against it.
Back in March, your George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed in the House. Let's look at some of the key aspects of that on the screen there. Republicans didn't want to do away with qualified immunity or no-knock warrants, one of several sticking points during talks. But why not move forward with a bill on the things that you could agree on, like incentivizing police departments to use body cameras and give officers more training? Would that have been better than no federal action at all?
It would be, but I do have to tell you that even on some of those points, we still did not reach agreement. Senator Scott still did not agree. I think the one area that there was agreement was on chokeholds, and maybe that is something that we would do. But you just listed 4 or 5 things in the bill. There were probably 3 times as many provisions as that. And the problem is that if we had got to yes on, say, 10 of those things, then we would have been talking about significant legislation. But that just didn't happen.
So what does happen now? You have said that police reform may have missed its moment. So when will its moment come, if not when Democrats control Washington and after protesters fill the streets?
Well, remember now, Democrats control the House, and we passed the legislation twice. But you know, in the Senate, even though Democrats are in the majority, they have to have 2/3 majority to pass legislation. That's what is lacking. It is the structure of the Senate that is the problem. I think if it was like the House, where it was majority vote and they didn't have the filibuster over there, we probably could have gotten a strong bill on President Biden's desk. So I do think, though, that reforms happened all over the country, and we shouldn't dismiss that. The protests did bring about real change, but we just have to keep at it. And so one of the things that we will look at is that maybe we look at pieces of the bill and just move individual bills forward. All of that is being examined right now.
I want to switch gears now. You're a former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, whose leaders met with White House officials yesterday about the treatment of Haitian migrants at the southern border. We heard your colleague, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, say that she was pissed about it. What's your response to those images of Border Patrol officers on horseback and the expulsion of Haitian migrants by the Biden administration?
Well, I was absolutely horrified by it. I think that it is atrocious. It reminded me of behavior back during the time of enslavement. And I am hoping that those officers will be suspended, that there'll be an investigation, and we need to see whether charges will be brought. I do believe that the administration has suspended the use of horse patrols, and that was a direct outcome of the meeting yesterday in the White House. But we really do have to have comprehensive immigration reform, because when people do present themselves at our border requesting asylum, that is not illegal, and they need to be granted an opportunity to make their case. So I am hoping that that will be the way we move forward.
And lastly, I just want to follow up on that to get your reaction to those who are saying that America treats migrants differently based on the color of their skin.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that. In my mind, we act as though we only have one border. We do have a northern border, you know. We have a border with Canada, but you would act as though the only border we have is on the south. And I do think that people of color are treated differently. For example, we have a program called diversity visas. That program was actually set up for European immigrants, and everybody loved the program. Well, once it became the primary way that Africans and Asians come into the country, all of a sudden it's a program that needs to be eliminated.
Congresswoman Karen Bass, as always, we appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.